My dog is digging.
Hi, why is my dog digging? Hi there, I'm Sylvia with Walkabout Canine Consulting, and I have been working with dogs for over 35 years. And today we're going to be tackling a question I hear all the time. Why is my dog digging holes in the yard? And maybe more importantly, what can you do about it? So here is the truth. Digging is a normal dog behavior. They come pre-programmed as they are not out to annoy you. They're simply expressing their instincts. So let's look at some of the top reasons behind them, and I'll give you some ideas to help uh, if your dog is digging. So we're looking at instinct, sometimes breed tendencies, but like I say, dogs come pre-programmed for having that desire for digging. Dogs are born to dig. They've been bred to chase or burrow after prey. So if you've got one of these dogs, you're basically got a four-legged excavator. And so we could be looking at boredom or lack of enrichment. If your dog isn't getting enough mental or physical stimulation, and those two do need to be in balance, they may start looking at making their own fun and enrichment. So that can sometimes involve your flower beds, your trees, sometimes just grass, and you want to look at digging as canine do-it-yourself entertainment. So that is something you want to consider, and I'll get more into that a little bit later. The other thing is you will see dogs when they're trying to regulate their temperature. So on hot days, some dogs dig to create a cool spot to lie in. On chilly days, they might dig for warmth. It's kind of nature's air conditioning or central heating system. The other thing is we've got hunting behavior, where we might have a dog that is now smelling or hearing critters underground, like moles or chipmunks, and then that's their inner hunter where they just cannot resist. So you want to look at that as well. If you've got a yard that maybe has some overgrowth of, for example, I'll give you an example for my yard. We've got a lot of Boston ivy, and there was a time that we had a lot of moles and they could hide in there. Sometimes even the little garter snakes for my area. We did clean it up a little bit. So there are, it's less attractive for them because we did take a lot of it out. So that's just an example. It didn't really bother us before when our dog was hunting there. It's just sometimes there would be a bit of an obsession and we had to train through that. But so that's something that you want to look at. You might have groundhogs in your yard, and they could be burrowing underneath, or even moles. So moles like to burrow some nice tunnels, and you might see these little kind of blurps of earth, and that's usually a signal where moles may have been. Now, interestingly enough, where one of the spots that we like to walk our dogs, there are a lot of moles, and we can see exactly where they've been because you kind of can see the underground trails because the ground kind of has that pathway, and then there's this abrupt piece of earth that's been unearthed. We actually let our dogs kind of do a little bit of digging around that, and I use that as a training opportunity. So my dogs will stop and dig a little bit, and then they'll go, yeah, okay, I'm done. So that is that's a dog. And I do have terriers, so they definitely love looking for critters. The other thing that you want to think about is stress or anxiety. So dogs could be using digging as an outlet for stress, frustration, separation anxiety. This frustration can lead back to not getting enough enrichment. So that is, again, something that you want to look at. It can be very soothing for dogs that have some stress or anxiety. It's almost like when people like to fidget. So some dog guardians, caregivers might see a rise in digging if their dog has some discomfort as well, and in their body. So that might be causing some frustration and stress. So sometimes dogs will, when they have something going on in their body, I'm not a vet, but I'm just familiar with a lot of similar symptoms of possible pain. And sometimes dogs get this funny sensation radiating down their legs, and they might be trying to get it to stop or find some relief with that. So that's also kind of a tip you want to look at if you start seeing your dog suddenly having an increase of a behavior that they weren't doing before. That's always a reason to question that. So Now, what can we do about our dogs digging? So there is some good news, and you don't need to choose between a nice yard and a happy dog. You just need to have a plan. And as I mentioned, increasing our dogs' enrichment is a great activity. Making sure they're getting puzzle toys or foraging toys where they're needing to find or lick or chew at their food. Scent games, easy enough to do inside the house, even in the yard, hiding either toys or food, whatever your dog really loves, and actually creating a scent game around that. If you wanted to learn a little bit more about scent games, I do have a really cool little fun and easy scent course, and it does incorporate scents and it also can incorporate toys, and it's really easy. And I'll provide the link down below. The other thing is scatter feeding. So we can scatter food on a rainy day. We can do it inside the house, in the yard. We can either do it on our deck. We can do it on the cement patio. We can increase the difficulty by doing it in the grass. And that is a great activity. It kind of mimics a little bit of hunting because our dogs have to look for those pieces of food. So that I love scatter feeding. I will actually do it on my walks as well. And I might even, without my dogs really seeing me, scatter some treats around the base of a tree as well. And of course, our dogs do need daily walks, but every dog is different. They don't necessarily need super long ones. Again, it depends on your dog and understanding what their needs are. Sometimes too much exercise can adrenalize your dog and make them more active, but that's another talk. So we can also create designate digging zones, and I have done this. We've lived in a lot of different houses, just due to my husband's work and having to move. And of course, throughout time, we've had different dogs with different needs. And so you can build a sandbox. I've done that before where I identified I had one dog that really did like the digging. So I just created a little sandbox. Caveat to that is you want to be careful about neighborhood cats coming to use it as their litter box. So you can either create a cover, which I did, or there's all kinds of really cool sandboxes that have covers that you can use as well. Or like I mentioned, you can create a corner in the yard where the digging is allowed. You can bury toys or treats there to encourage use. And sometimes what's really nice to do to encourage or even just create more joy of digging in that particular space is to dig alongside with your dog to make it fun. We live close to the beach right now, so what I did with my dogs that were younger is, we go to the beach a lot, and I would take a toy and I would engage in digging activity with my dog, with my puppy, just to create that fun, and it gave them that outlet. So that's something else that you can think about if you live close to a beach. You can even create digging pits with waffle balls, or you can just take up flyers and scrumple up the paper, stick them in a big container, and have your dog digging through the paper to find treats. So there's a lot of really cool ideas that you can do. The other thing that you want to think about, and I do see dog guardians not appreciate this one, but supervise yard time. So really, I mean, backyards are not babysitters. They don't teach our dogs what they are allowed to do or not do. And especially for young dogs or new dogs that just have not gotten into new routines or habits. So, that's something to think about. Preventing the rehearsal behavior is really important for our, young dogs or new dogs or rescue dogs. So you really don't want to leave them in the yard unsupervised. I mean, really, it should be, a time for you to be together, instructive play, that kind of stuff. So again, checking the bigger picture, make sure your dog's exercise, including mental exercise, rest, and emotional needs are met. A mentally tired and rich dog is less likely to dig out of frustration or boredom. And again, address anxiety. If digging seems stress related, you want to work on some calmness protocols and predictable routines. So what's really helpful to remember is digging is not your dog being bad. It's behavior with a reason. So we want to understand the why and create solutions that work for both dog and human. Again, I'm Sylvia from Walkabout Canine Consulting, helping dogs and their people live calmer, more connected lives. If you found this helpful, hit like, subscribe, and share with a fellow dog guardian whose backyard might look like a minefield. And check out the links on the bottom. I'll put the scent work course in there and check out some of the other resources. If you're interested, I can always send you a little cheat sheet as well. So I hope you have a wonderful day.